Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Cinema Chat with Amita, Sri Lanka's longest running LinkedIn live talk show and Facebook live talk show. Apart from that, this is the first LinkedIn live talk show in the country, and I have been running this for 65 weeks. We are on the episode number 65. Just imagine, uh, just started as a basic idea, and it has run into this level. So, talking about myself, so before that, let me welcome all of you who are joining on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on YouTube. And then talking about myself, my name is Amita Gamage. What do I do? I am a executive coach. I love coaching CEOs. And then I'm a personal branding strategist. I help CEOs or CXOs, business owners build their personal brand. And it's a lovely business. You get to meet a lot of clients from a lot of countries. So on the POE day, I was working with a client from Malaysia. And then apart from that, I also help B2B organizations grow their sales. And then by working with their sales teams, apart from that, I also advocate digital transformations in your organization. So today, we are going to talk about a very specific, very special topic. We all have a credit card. Probably most of us have obtained a loan or maybe thinking about obtaining a loan. Can you recall, can you remember the the difficulty you had or the process that you have to undergo in order to obtain a loan? Maybe you obtain a loan 1 month ago, 2 months ago, but you still had to undergo the same process. Now we are talking about technology enabled world. While there is technology, we still have to undergo a lot of challenges when you want to get financial assistance from anybody for that matter. Trust is one issue. There could be so many other documentation, regulatory issues. And on the other hand, we are talking about fintech and various innovations. So I was thinking, why don't we talk about this? How fintech innovations can help with your personal financial issues, like taking a loan, obtaining a credit card, those kind of things. Can technology help us? Now, I'm not an expert on the subject, so I decided to bring in someone who has done a lot of research, also who has come up with a solution. So let me invite Shantan. Good evening, Shantan. Welcome to the show.
Hi, good evening, Amit. Hi.
Great to have you here for the benefit of
Yeah,
our audience on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So, Shantan, now the audience, majority of the audience may not know you. Not that everybody knows me either, but I what I do is I dig into the past of the guest who comes here, so that when you start answering my questions, people also would realize, okay, there's a background to what you are talking about. You know how you have arrived at this place, so you are an expert to answer these questions. People have to know. Then
yeah,
only there's some credibility into it. So I generally dig into uh, the very history of school time. So I would like to know a little bit about your childhood. Are you from
okay.
Colombo? Uh, to which school did you go to?
Yeah, so I'm actually from the very north part of Sri Lanka. I born and grown up in Jaffna. I studied in Jaffna
Okay,
Hindu College. It's one of the leading school in Jaffna, Northern Province. I
in the
was,
country.
yeah, yes, of course. So I
Yes.
was, rather than education, I'm mostly focusing on, the chess game. So I
Oh,
played. We came to the national level in Colombo during this. During this. during the difficulty times to participate in national games as well. So that was an excellent experience. And yeah, so that is basically from my childhood. And also, if I look at my family, I'm actually come from a well-educated family. My father is, mother is, and my father is a retired lecturer, and my mother is also a retired teacher in advice, and my siblings also, everyone is from engineering and doctors. So that's a basic about myself. Yeah.
So the genes are speaking. So that looks like you are a very analytical person because you have played chess and gone to
Yeah.
national level. Yeah, and also looks like you are a studious person.
Yeah, analytical in the sense, I have a blood, and it's from my father is mathematical professor. So it's there, and my mother is also there, so I can think a lot on analytical side as well.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, interesting. So how sometimes the family influence
Yeah.
people to take certain paths. So,
Yeah.
of course, obviously after school, you would have got into the university. You want to talk about little bit about your university life?
All right. Okay. So I actually got selected from the Supermerit to University of Moratuva for the engineering department, and I'm very much interested in that time that computer. That's getting popular. So I choose to computer science and engineering. Then I actually did my masters in National University of Singapore, in not Sri Lanka, Singapore. Then yeah, I came back to Sri Lanka to do my own startups. So that's the basic
Okay.
about my higher education and as well as engineering in Sri Lanka.
Okay. So let's get into the university side. Why you chose university in Singapore, or maybe not choosing something in Malaysia or some other country, or even in Sri Lanka for that matter?
Right. So that's a big story. The big story in the sense, I have a lot of, before joining to the engineering department, I just tried several, it's not in the business. I was trying to do certain stuff my own. Um, Even sometimes in my childhood, when I was in almost 14 years, so we had a in our gardens, we had a guava tree. So we used to, I me and my brother, we pick it up and sell it to the neighboring shops. So we
Wait a
used to
minute.
generate some.
You said you used to sell the guavas that is grown in your tree at your home. You
Yeah.
are 14 and you try to go and sell them.
Yes, of course. So it was an experience I grown. By talking with a merchant and understanding. Sometimes they will say, no, 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 customers won't buy it. So I will create the need first, go and ask. Send my brother saying, okay, he will go and ask if the fruit is there. Then later I will be going back and saying, okay, I have this much fruits, will you want to buy it? So they will, they will definitely buy because there's a person already gone and asked for the fruit. So that's how it's
Okay.
worked. Then what
Okay.
we did is so that's how
You wanna
yeah,
you
that was
you have
interesting.
you have a phone ringing. You wanna mute it? No.
uh, all right,
That,
okay, yeah.
that's no worries. This is our show.
Yeah.
We don't. I said the rules. So
Yeah,
you wanna
okay,
mute the
okay.
phone? No problem.
Give me
Sure, sure, sure. Done.
that. Yeah, yeah, tell me,
Yeah,
sorry
sure,
for the
no problem.
troubles.
So this is something that I wanted to ask you at the latter part of the show. Like,
Yeah.
how did you get into entrepreneurship? You have already answered that question.
Yeah.
Imagine
Yeah.
a boy in Jaffna, 14 years, suddenly he thinks, we have enough guava at our home. Why don't I sell it? Brilliant idea. And did you manage to sell?
Yeah, of course. Me and my brother did that. So we won't make much money, but actually it was an experience to talk with the merchants and understanding their needs. So that's an experience. So later, actually, when I was studying in Morocco also, I started to do some matrimonial site. So that
Oh,
was a different experience. So
okay.
I that time I'm my cousin brothers and everyone getting married, and they are actually looking for the bride. And so there was a problem we identified. finding from different people from abroad and connecting them. So unfortunately, what happened was on that it was nearly in 2007 and 2006. So there is no payment gateway or there's we don't have any mechanism. Even I don't know that even how that is working. I was just a first second year University of Morocco student, and yeah, so that I couldn't make it because at that time I don't have in my personal money even. So I can't able to keep on running. I can't able to create a customer traction. I can't able to do it, but I keep on running for 3 years time. Later I decided, okay, I can't continue on that, let's move on that one. So you asked me a question on why did you go to Singapore. Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
so that's, yeah. So when I realized that actually when I actually have to go to if I want to pursue something, so I couldn't find a way really in Sri Lanka because it's technical and this one. But at that time, I found University of Singapore able to they have an ecosystem within that one for the startup. So there are a lot of communities, there are a lot of organizing events that's actually encouraged me to go there. So I go there and I choose as a module, course specialized on organizing innovations. So especially what's that mean, how to organize the innovation within the enterprises. So understanding the
Okay.
customer need, understand the organization's culture and everything. So yeah, that's a big story. I mean, that
Yeah, but then it's a beautiful story.
yeah,
I mean, the boy who used to sell guava later on, after seeing a problem in the market where parents are trying to, get the help of a matchmaker to give their daughter or son to a right person, and you decided, okay, I'm going to put up a website, and then later you realize, okay, website is brilliant, but there's no way of getting the
yes,
payments, and but you
yeah,
still ran it for 3 years. 3 years, right?
yes. Ran for 3 years until 2009,
And you were
2006,
a
2000.
university student, like
Yeah,
amazing. I can see, I can see. I mean, I know you are a IT professional, but I see the entrepreneurial part of it more than the IT person. So let's say hi to few of our friends. Uh, Tamit, hi Tamit, thank you very much for joining. We also run another page called Sales Guru. From that page, we interview small and medium business owners to help them. And Tamit is the host in that show. So thank you, Tamit, for coming. Tamit, myself, and few others got together and are doing it to purely to help
right.
small and medium entrepreneurs. It's a beautiful ecosystem here. And then we have Indika Amarasinghe. Good evening, both of you and all. First time I'm joining the session. Congratulations.
Oh,
Go ahead. Indika, thank you very much.
thank you,
Please,
Indika.
please stay with us. I hope you will enjoy the show. There's a lot that we can learn. And when Shantan shares his experience, we will learn a lot. Then we have Jeswin says, beautiful. Thank you, Jeswin, joining
Thank
from
you, Jasmine.
Facebook. Yeah. And we have another top of finance and HR professional, Gayan Gunawardena. Good evening, all. Today I almost on time and only 5 minutes miss. You didn't miss the good parts, and more. I probably the better ones are yet to come. Dinuka, another top marketing professional, Sri Lankan, joining from Africa. Thank you, Dinuka,
Thanks,
joining.
Indika.
Yeah, he's working for LOLC over there and doing a great job in promoting finance. I mean, Dinuka, this gentleman has to be introduced to you.
Hi,
Okay,
Indika. Yeah,
hi. Then first division by Umaya. I'm sorry, I think it goes as fifth division by Umaya. Great discussion. We also have Logaraj. Good evening. Hi, Lograj. Thank you very much for joining. We have Fazir. Hi, thank you for bringing experts like this. Yes, of course. I mean, originally I was thinking about me coming and talking to you forever, and then I realized I wouldn't be able to do it forever. Then I decided to bring an expert. Okay, Fazir, thanks. Thank you for joining. So, a lot to learn. I'll get into the next question. So, you were in University of Morato. You went to Singapore National University. and you are into IT. On top of that, we also see that your entrepreneurial journey also has started at the age of 14. But after going to university, what is your specialization in terms of, your area of specialization?
Yeah, the core part is actually the computer engineering. Engineering in the sense is not like programming, but basically the algorithm and understanding how the programs are working and defining those things, and mostly the hardware and software how that is connected. But when actually that is my core part in engineering. But when I moved to Singapore, I basically started to do the soft skill of it. I mean, soft skill means how to use that one to get a value, mostly connecting with the how to create a good value out of the software. I mean, value here, how to bring innovation to the software, and how to bring to the market, how to pitch to the investor, how to talk with the customer. All this one has a practical experience. I got it from University of National University of Singapore.
Yeah, this is, I think, one of the lacking area when it comes to techies. They are really good
Yeah,
in tech, but then how do you convert that technology into solving a real life problem? These are some of the challenging areas.
yeah,
And I don't know, at the age of 14, you have figured out somehow by talking to the merchants
yeah,
to understand the other side of the story. So
yeah.
now you are bringing both technology, innovation, and solving problems. So my next question is, you finish your uh, masters, you finish your university and all that. I am sure you would have joined a company just like any other fresher. You would have joined the corporate world. You want to say a little bit about your corporate life journey?
Yeah. So actually, when I actually passed out from University of Morato in Sri Lanka, I work in Eternum, Lanka, Sri Lanka, for 8 months. So that is, I mean, just after graduating from the University of Morato, and until I'm going to that National University of Singapore, that's 8 months. So that was a fantastic experience. I have worked with high professionals, and they actually lead the organization. That is a small company that time. So then I moved to Singapore, and I worked for leading corporates for Post and Proya. So both are actually a startup culture. I mean, startup in the sense they actually, I choose the company have a culture of startup here, because when I was in Singapore, I work on a company called Proyam. That's actually a joint venture of a German company and as well as the Post. They're actually creating a new product. It's a high scalable system. They're creating a high scalable system for the logistic deliveries. So the Singapore is a hub of delivering the item. So they actually want to build it. So I was the initial development team, and as well as I able to work with the leadership team. So that's a fantastic experience, because rather than going for a different established company, when I'm going to the startup kind of a company, I have exposed to almost everything, even trying to solve the problem of the customers and talking with the customers, even understanding what they are experiencing when they're using the when they're using the software, and when the finance, how the finance are calculated, everything is I got access to this. So then, yeah, that's a kind of a corporate experience. Later, when I actually moved to Sri Lanka, I immediately joined to the startup. It called Pick Me. So that's also a different story. Yeah, that's my corporate culture. I mean, corporate
Yeah,
experience.
yeah. So I can see that you never wanted to get into a comfort zone.
Yeah. Yes, of
Always,
course.
I mean, choosing a startup to work. Today, I know there are a lot of uh, students or university graduates. They look for a large organization because you can learn a lot from a large organization. But you are also missing a lot of opportunities. One thing, when you choose a large organization, you are also comfortable because everything is nicely set. You just have to go and fit in. But when you join a startup, sometimes you will have to make tea, clean the
Yeah.
place, run and buy lunch for everybody. You will have to do everything. And you have
Yeah.
been smart enough, purposely choose a startup so that you could learn, you could be part of this whole learning, you could be with the customer, you could be with the engineering team. Like, I mean, I am sure it was your entrepreneurial thinking, entrepreneurial spirit, which I heard from you when you were 14, you were trying to sell. I mean, to be honest with you, this is why my 12-year-old son is running
Yeah,
a school for kids to teach entrepreneurship. And these are the great stories that I could go back and tell the parents, hey, look, listen to this. How did he decide to get into a uh, startup instead of an established company? It's because of the entrepreneurial the entrepreneur inside you saying, hey, look, go through that difficult path and you will learn. So
yeah,
amazing. So uh, I would like to learn a little bit about your journey in Pick Me, because I'm sure at the time you joined Pick Me also was a startup.
yep,
Your learning and a little bit about that journey.
yep. So, I mean, before joining the PICME, why I joined PICME, that's another story actually. So, when actually graduated from University of National University Singapore, me and my sister, she was MBA student in University of Moratuwa. Dr. Chandana Kamagi was the supervisor at that time. So we actually, I had I mean, in NUS, we are using a Moodle as a e-learning platform. So that is a famous platform, I mean, that time. So I every day, every week I have to submit and I have to go through these models and I have to work with the techno platform, but it's a very boring one. There is nothing, just you post it, done, they will evaluate it and you will get the review. So we actually think about to build a collaborative learning platform. So collaborative means you and me just discussing like this. It's actually very early stage, I mean 2000 or means 2012 and 13. So that time we don't have a high speed internet in Sri Lanka. We built it, and I got the first investment from Mars Holding. So that's actually
Wow.
different. I participated in competition and got it first investment. So when we built the platform and when we go to this the customer is actually not the end customer, not the students. They are the institutes. So when I
Yes.
talk with them after building the beta and after going them, they say, okay, rather than bringing the platform for them, why don't you bring them student for me? So they asked me directly. So that's a, I mean, this kind of a bulb bringing in your head. Oh my God, what you are doing? So all the time you are working on a collaborative learning, but it's not. That is not actually the paying customer who gonna pay me. Not much interested on that technology. So rather than he would like to get it. So we said, okay, fine, okay. So we are making some mistakes on understanding the customer needs and how to execute it. Then take a decision. Fine, let's work on a startup first and understanding how they're actually growing and how they're solving certain problems. I mean, that's very important to understand the customer. End of the day, customer is the king. So he is the one gonna pay the
Yes.
money. So whatever
Yes.
we build, whatever we do, whatever we code day and night, nothing is create value unless the customers get used to it. So,
Yeah.
so I got connected to Pick Me through one of my good friend. That time there was a CTO. I mean, the Ghazali was a CTO. So he introduced me to Zulfa, the CEO of the Pick Me. So Zulfa had a chat with me directly, and there was a lot of, I mean, technical problems there. I mean, to because a startup they want to scale it fast and they want to get it. My experience in Singapore on Singapore store for the distributed systems, it's a real-time distribution system, helped me a lot to build a real-time disbursement system in Pygmy, high scalable, high automated system. So that's in a 3 years time, I transformed the technology in Pygmy to a high scalable technology platform. So I mean, it's not. I mean, certain dots already. I place it. I mean, I don't know whether it's a goat race or something. It's helped me in that way, and I able to complete it successfully. This, I mean, they transform the Pygmy technology to a different level. So when I joined Pick Me, I told directly to Zulfa because I'm joining Pick Me because only one reason, because I have an interest to start my own. I will be moving out in a certain times. Yeah, certain times. So he said, okay, fine. Let's you help me out here. I'll help out later. So it's
Wow.
a word he gave me. I mean. So, but in PICME, when I was working, I have able to access to certain high-profile network like Ajit Gunavatana and Conrad Dias. He's the CEO of LOLC, and Ajit Gunavatana is a very experienced person and working with Zulfar and other management team. It's completely different exposure. So you have access to, I mean, unlimited resources, unlimited opportunities uh, while working for a startup. So that is, I mean, if I want advice to anyone would like to do something, I would say just work for a 2 or 3 years for a startup, and you will be get to know exactly you have to do.
Wow.
So that
So I
exposure I
can
got.
see the chess player where he would anticipate the next move
Yeah,
of the other players, and just
yeah,
like that, you join them, and you know the power of networking, and you were able to access this high profile network
yeah,
because you joined them.
yeah. Hello, is it dropping or Amita?
Shantan?
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. I think the connection dropped suddenly. Amita? Yeah,
Shantan?
yeah, I'm
I,
here.
yeah, there, are no, there was a little, I think my network has shift into a different Wi-Fi.
Oh,
No
right.
worries. I
Okay.
think we are still there in the network. I hope
Yeah.
everyone can hear us and see us. For some reason, it has switched to a different Wi-Fi at my
Okay.
home. So anyway, we are good to go. So we also have uh, Randi who says, good job. And Dinuko says that he can see us and he can hear us. So you are talking about the picnic experience. So my
Yep.
next question is about today's topic. It's about how
Yep.
fintech innovations can help with your personal financial issues. My question to you is, before we get into fintech, how do you see current credit rating or credit evaluation system by traditional finance organizations in Sri Lanka?
Right. So the current rating systems, actually, the current rating in the sense they will evaluate the customer. Basically, if you want to take a risk, you want to understand what is the risk you're taking. That's the thing. I mean, in not in terms of, I mean, in everything, in business or personal life or in everything. So in terms of financial institutes, they will take their risk. They evaluate their risk based on that customers pre-information. I mean, what are the information they have about the customers? So they will walk to their house, they walk to their working place, they will go to their neighbors and understand the customers manually and build the personal relationship and make sure and understand whether this person can be able to pay back. So that's what they are will doing it. So in addition to that, in Sri Lanka, we have a credit information bureau of Sri Lanka. They are collecting all the credit information about the customer. So these they are helping the banks to uh, accumulate and actually aggregate all the credit information and provide them as a plain raw data. So the banks will go through one by one and they will take their own personal understanding and they will take their own risk based on the information they are available. So that's what happening
Yeah.
in the credit related system in Sri Lanka. That's very high level. I didn't go into details because every financial institute have their own protocols and they will follow their own the regulative requirements to make sure they are covered. I mean, they have covered the credit risk. Yep, Amitabh.
Okay. So, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. Yes, I can.
Yeah, sure. Shantan, uh, so how can technology come and play a role here? I don't know whether it should be fintech or any other technology. Uh, what kind of role it can play in terms of credit evaluation?
Right. So here, I mean, basically the credit evaluation is we want to understand the person or the entity is a credit worthy. So the credit worthy means whether if I give the money, whether they will be pay back. Even not even today, maybe have the attitude to pay back in later even. So that is very, very important.
Yeah,
But in today's world, everyone is sharing a lot of data about us. Even we are sharing about their lifestyle, we are sharing about where we are going, with whom we are connected,
true.
who are the persons I'm in connected with, whether I'm actually having more connection with a person who are making more troubles than a person I'm having a good connection with a good professional guys. So that's everything is
Yeah,
can add value. The technology can link everything together. So rather than having a human intervention, so to understand that one, technology can bring and identify what are the sweet spot. I mean, understanding the more detail about the individual. So as far as we be able to access more data about the individual, for example, we can able to build the digital DNA of the customer. I mean, digital DNA of the person. So what I mean by digital DNA is like your DNA, your lifestyle and everything can be digitally mapped to a DNA structure that can tell about your pattern. What will you do if, for example, if you have a problem, how you will be react, what extent you can go. All this can be predict based on the technology.
okay, okay. Interesting. So uh, now that's on the technology part or the bank
Yep.
side or the lender
Yep.
side or the financial institution side. But take me for an example. I can remember for how long I had to wait to get my first credit card, to get my first
Yep.
loan, because there were some benchmark set. Until
Yes.
you have this kind of income, we will not give you a credit card. But
Yes.
sometimes I can't even show my other income, because for other income I'm not getting a receipt or anything like that.
Yes.
Even today, sometimes it happens. Sometimes
Yep.
you will get some money where uh, I can't prove the bank this is how I'm getting this money. It could happen,
Yes.
like
Yep.
say for an example, if I'm driving a three wheeler, we are not going to exchange receipts if I'm running it for cash. I'm just saying, right? Maybe I
Yep.
might have a jackfruit tree at home and I might be selling them, and then there's no way that I could show it. So why do you think, I mean, not why do you think, I mean, you have already thought about it. My question is like, uh, how can fintech solve that kind of a problem from the user side? I want a loan, I want a facility, I want a credit card. I mean, can your organization, can your technology, whatever you are building, help me?
Yes, of course. Because here, I mean, you raise a valid point. Actually, if you take Sri Lanka, we have 22 million, over 22 million population. In this 22 million, we have 8.5 million people are working people. It means working means they have make some money for their living. So they are getting by odd jobs, or they are doing the professional jobs, or they are part-time jobs, whatever the jobs they are doing it. Within this 8.3 million, our credit card industry in Sri Lanka is, I mean, they have only 8.3 million, sorry, 1.8 million credit cards are issued. For me, if you take myself, I'm having three credit cards from different banks. It's not even I applied, they come back and give it, I mean, come and give it to me. So it's like there are people actually have multiple credit cards even, but there are people don't have anything. So in 1.8, the 83 million credit cards, if a unique people take a unique people, maybe it will come to 1.2 million people have access to a credit card facility. But 8.3 million people are
Mhm.
working people, right? The huge gap, they
Yeah,
don't have access to, let's say for example, you take a COVID, right? I mean, there's a certain lockdown, certain you can't buy anything. If a person want to buy a milk, I mean, the infant milk powder, so he lost the job, right? If we don't have a credit
yeah,
facility, if we can't able to get it immediately, think about the situation where we will go, right? So he can't able to apply the credit card, he can't able to get it. But if the technology is enabled, if we can able to access about this person's details, I mean, for example, if even a simple data, with whom he's connected, whether these people are trustworthy, or whether this person is actually having a paying the bills on time. Whether if it is not even paying on time means whether if it's can't able to pay today, can be able to pay it later even. I mean tomorrow, day after tomorrow. Whether this he has a tendency to pay back, and as well as whether he would like to pay it. So if we able to evaluate that one, we can able to quickly enable very fast than to compare to a traditional approach.
Okay. So
So that's
there's
what we are
no
building.
question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So there's no question about whether credit is required or not. What you
yeah,
say is everybody may need credit, but
yes,
there's no proper mechanism to truly evaluate somebody's credit worthiness.
yes,
So probably banks have given the maximum. That is
yes,
1.8 million people are having facilities and credit cards. But I'm sure there's maybe another 1 or 2 million people who can actually eligible, who can
yes,
actually pay back. But there's no way that they can prove that they could do it
yes.
under the current regulatory environment, maybe. Am I correct?
Exactly. Yes, because you can't blame the bank or you can't blame the financial institute because they are governed by the central bank regulations. They have to govern their financials because so they have to report this. But so there's a huge protocols they have. I mean, there's a strict protocol they have to follow when they're enabling a credit facility for a person. But with the technology, with more understanding about the customer, they can take it little further. I mean, if they actually evaluate more 5% of another, if they started to enable another 5%, there's a huge population. They will start to get into that. So what we are trying to do is it's a chicken egg problem. How you gonna actually prove that person is a trustworthy without giving a credit facility, right? So we actually
True.
providing a simple credit facility and make sure we evaluate the person's credit and credit worthiness. After that, we will be providing a credit facility. It's not a big amount, a small amount, and help them to build his credit worthiness. So prove that okay, whether if I'm giving a 10,000 today or 5,000 today, will you able to pay back it tomorrow or even a promised time? Even if you can't pay it on time, will you come back and say, okay, hey, look at it, Amita, I can't pay today. Can you give me a time? I will pay it later. So that's the attitude and that's the things we are actually looking at. If we can get those
Okay.
information about the person, we can enable I mean, life beyond limits. I mean, you will be getting let's say, if you are emergency in a hospital, you can able to get it, credit
Yeah.
facility more than what you have deserved now because we know you can able to pay back and you have the ability to pay back. Not the ability, you have the attitude to pay back.
Yes.
So
I
with
like
those
that.
information, yeah,
Yeah. Like you are talking about the attitude to pay back. I
yeah,
mean, I don't think the currency. I mean, I have obtained loans. I have bought houses. I have bought cars. Multiple things using loans and credit cards. I have never come across a question or even indirect question where my attitude about credit is tested. Like
yes,
whether now you are referring. I mean, the most interesting area of today's discussion for me is about you bringing this attitude to payback.
yeah,
That's a very deep thought, I would say. So since you have set up an organization, I would like to ask you about Monitor.
yeah.
Can you tell us about this organization that you are building?
Okay, so the moneta is what we are doing is moneta mean money. It's a Latin word. It's actually money is actually come from money. English word money come from moneta. So we actually building a technological platform to enable more credit facility. Uh, I mean, credit is the way you can build wealth. Actually, I mean, you don't have a facility now. Let's say, for example, you want to buy a house, right? So you can't pay everything at once. You are going for a credit and pay it, and later time you actually maybe in a 10 years time you'll pay back the credit. End of the 10 years, you have an asset, right? So that's a credit. That's what the credit need to be worth. So, but if you take middle economic consumers, I mean middle economic people, so they need to have a real life problems to access to certain facilities. For example, if they want to go to a hospital, if they want to go to a emergency, they want to buy electrical items. So these things, we actually what we are trying to do is we are connecting these opportunities and we are building a credit infrastructure. What I mean by credit infrastructure means able to use the credit with the certain infrastructure, certain places. They can able to get benefited, and end of the day, the customers also get benefited. I mean, the customers and the merchant can able to benefited. And also we are providing a certain facility for an emergency. They will able to access, let's say for example, I need a cash advance or salary advance because I need some emergency. Tomorrow is I need to settle a loan or lease, or I want to settle my house advance or something. We will be provide that as a salary advance. At the same time, we are providing a EMI based products, and also we are providing the buy now pay later options for customers to buy any electrical item or any healthcare items with our partner network. They don't need to pay in advance. They only pay a small amount, but later in the 2 or 3 months later, they can pay it and settle it, and they can consume the product. So these are the attributes you're working in Moneta.
Wow.
Actually, behind the
So,
screen, we actually evaluating a
yeah.
credit worthiness for you. I mean, it means, let's say, for example, if you started to buy some electrical item, you pay on time, you will be access to more credit facility in a 3 months later. Maybe we'll be in future, we might even be able to give it to a bigger financial facility for you to buy or for your wedding or for your uh, for the emergency purpose. All this, I mean, all this can be enabled.
Because you have already proven that you
Yep.
are in a position to pay it. Your
Yes.
credit score
That
is
attitude, the
registered
attitude will
as
be there.
positive.
Yes.
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 Interesting. Okay. Buddhika says, let's see what Buddhika says. Hi, Amita, joining second time. Yeah, I know we had a little technical hiccup. Some of these things are, I mean, I face this, once in a blue moon, I get into this kind of a little technical glitch. And then, who blames me first? My editor, the guy who edits the video at the end of the day. He blames me. See, look at the quality, the sync, the audio and video is not synced. So he fights with me. And I say, hey, look, even though we have internet in Sri Lanka, we are yet to improve a little bit more, I guess. Okay, so that's about Monita. So, what is your opinion about future of fintech, uh, especially in this part of the world? I mean, you have been in Singapore. I don't know what was the status of fintech at that time in Singapore. I'm sure you have, what can I say, very much first-hand information about Singapore. So it is unfair for me to compare Sri Lanka and Singapore, but I don't know. But let's say at least let's look at India, Pakistan, Indonesia, this part of the world, fintech and consumer credit. What do you see?
Yeah, because uh, it's basically we. I mean, it's a developing countries, right? If you take Singapore, it's not a developing country; it's a developed kind of. So here, in the developing countries, the customer needs are actually growing, and the gap between their needs and as well as their aspiration is also. I mean, it's also growing, and
Yeah.
they want to get more education, and they want to get more healthcare facilities. They want to get their basic the financial needs to be fulfilled, but everything need to be more. And I mean, if you take in future, they will able to we will able to evaluate a person's credit worthiness with more information about the person, because that information is available now. So if you take in future, more credit facility can be accessible, not even through Moneta, but we would like to get into there. So that can be accessible with all the, I mean, fintech is not going to be a separate part. It's going to be in everywhere. It means, let's say, even if you, let's say, hailing or if it's a healthcare can able to access a customer's basic information, and as well as they can tap into a different partnership to access, and they can able to provide their own credit facilities. So the fintech is kind of an enabler for all the sectors to access to more customers, and as well as access to more user consumable product to the customers.
Okay, so in today's context, talking about Moneta again,
Yep.
uh, I mean, can I talk to you if I want to, work with you in the sense as a consumer? Should I talk to Moneta.lk? Should I go to your website and start registering myself and do something like that? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean that. Yes, of course. Moneta is actually working on. We actually still scratching the surface, right? So it's a very vast opportunity. we actually still scratching the surface. You can actually come to that Moneta website and you can download the mobile application by providing is a mobile application. So because mobile application will give certain, I'll just give some basic information. Even we look for how you charge your phone. I mean, what is the pattern you charging? Whether the person have a, you always dry out your, I mean, waiting to phone die and I mean, dry out the battery and charging, or we actually having a attitude to charge. Basically, that attitude element. So so we have mobile application that will be, you can download it and use it. And we have a very strict customer privacy information because everything is what we are collecting is encrypted and properly secured in our platform. But we are not going to never see a individual. Amit, hey, what Amit Kameke is doing. But the algorithm will match it with you and with the general public. Okay, Amit is actually a person who is actually having a good portfolio. I mean, he's kind of a good credit worthiness. We never know who is Samit Kamekevi, who is what he is doing or anything else. But we will know, okay, this person is a trustworthy than compared to a 90 percentage of the other population, or it's a 10 percentage of the other population. It's an overall statistical analytic at the big data and as well as machine learning algorithm. Yeah, and we will be enabling the credit facility at this moment. But moving forward, we will be working with different partners, different merchants, different service providers to provide more facility for the consumers.
Okay.
Moneta will be an enabler for all the facilities.
Yeah, so you are going to sit in between
Yes,
various financial institutions, organizations, hospitals who should
yes,
give, I mean, when it comes to credit, it is not only money. Some
yes,
organizations will give you equipment,
yes,
services, and you can enjoy and pay it later. And you are going to sit
yes,
in between and then facilitate that process. So what you are saying
yeah,
is you are an enabler, you are a
yes.
facilitator. Yeah.
We are technology enabler.
Okay.
That's all.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. And I'm happy to be interviewing you here today because I know you went to a new office recently. It's going to be a new journey. So amazing. So my other question is, what kind of organization should work with you? Like, not
Right.
the consumers. Who
Mhm.
should start talking to you? Hey, Monita, we want to talk to you. Let's have a partnership. Who should talk to you?
So we actually would like to work with the financial institute. We are working with certain financial institutes at this moment. So I can't disclose the name. So
Yep.
we are working very closely with them to enable, I mean, using their co-banking and as well as certain facilities through ourselves. And we moving forward, we will be would like to work with other financial institute to enable, and we will be giving more customer base and as well as more user, I mean, basically more usability for their products. For example, if you have a credit product, we will enable more usability for the credit infrastructure for that products. And also we will be working with certain merchants. I mean, for example, chains, for hospital chain, healthcare chains, and all this to enable a credit facility based customer services for them.
Okay. Maybe electronic retailers
Yes,
can work with you.
yes, of course. We have
Yeah.
certain merchants at this moment, but moving, I mean, we would like to work with other merchants as well.
Okay. So now there has to be challenges, no, Shantan,
Yes.
right? So, what kind of challenges do you see when working with consumers, when working with organization? Maybe they are common to all the other innovative technology companies, but I would like to hear it from you. Uh, what are the general challenges you face by trying to, connect these two parties?
Okay. So the consumer side, actually, I mean, we uh, uh, let's say we actually trying to build a good credit culture in Sri Lanka. I mean, what I mean good culture, I mean credit behavior. For example, if you take it, you have to give it back to, I mean, that's a commitment you're making, right? You can't run away. So that's an attitude. So we actually trying to build it rather than punishing a person. We actually trying to help him to onboard it, back it with a, I mean, different mechanism. For example, if you pay on time, you will get more facility and as well as you will get more rewards. So we actually trying to create a culture that's actually rewarding. It's rewarding in the sense, okay, if you do good, you will get more rewarded. Rather than going punishing a bad person, we will be focusing on that. So we will keep on aggregating the good people, good in the sense actually the rewarding mechanism. We will create an aggregation and we will enabling more services for them. So if
Okay.
you're very bad and if you're rich, you will be run away from this platform. So
Yeah.
that's a
Now
that
yeah,
yeah.
the beauty is, think about our parents
Yes.
and their grandparents. They were. It was a shameful act to be in debt. I
Yes.
can remember even farmers suiciding simply
Yes.
because they can't pay.
Yes.
And then slowly we got into a credit culture. It was all right to be in debt. And
Yes.
then I think we crossed the line and we came to a point where we were not even willing to pay back. And here I can see technology is trying to bring back the value system where our ancestors had using technology.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yeah. Yes. Of
Yeah.
course.
So Gayan says, uh, Gayan is also a top finance professional in this country. Interesting discussion, and thanks both of you. FinTech becomes more challengeable to governments, also with their problematic performances, especially with our global ratings now. Gayan, I would like you to meet Shayantan. I mean, I will set up a meeting for you all to meet. It will be a boost for Shayantan's journey, as well as Gayan's network will be accessible to Shayantan. These are
Yeah.
the greatest, what can I say, benefits of being here. So, you just told me about the what can I say, the challenges from the consumer side. What about the regulatory environment and the organization that you work with?
Yes, I mean the regulatory environment is working fantastically in Sri Lanka because so their job is to make sure everyone is protected because they are governing now. So
Yes,
we are not actually going to break anything here, but we are trying to show them there's a better way to do certain stuff. So we are actually taking the lead on that, showing it and enabling. Okay, I mean it's kind of a lobbying with them, and okay, then after that show that okay this worked perfectly. Why don't we consider this one? So
true.
then they will be coming because it's already proven in other countries. Let's say technology is as an enabler for other financial institutes in other countries. But in Sri Lanka, there's it's not till that moment. But let's work with them, and we will be. I mean, we'll keep on lobbying to enable that the technology into the main decision making stream.
Yeah, I think somebody has to do at least a sample, a pilot project,
Exactly.
and show
Yes.
how it is working. Yeah, because
Yes.
not everybody is willing to trust technology at once, because there are,
Yeah.
we hear, it was hacked, we lost
Yes.
everything. There was these ransomware. People talk about
Yes.
all these, so there's little fear factor built
Yes.
into everything. Yeah. So I can see what Monita is doing. I can see what Shantan is doing. So we have come to the end of the show. I would like to ask, what kind of a advice would you like to give? Uh, Two things, like, what kind of advice would you like to give people who are innovating, people like you who are going through this difficult path of innovation? Sometimes the troubles are so much, maybe you give up. Yeah. So but you have, to your credit, I think around three or four uh, organization that you have trying to build, and you have miserably failed, I would say. Am I correct, or
Yep.
am I
Yes.
exaggerating?
It's not a miserably failed. I failed it. Yeah, I mean,
So
failing is
what is your
good
advice
because,
to this?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
because
please.
if I failed only, I will understand what's actually that working, and I will be keep moving. So if I want to tell anything, I mean, I would say be open. Let's say, for example, if I see a problem, I will be keep on looking how to solve it more effectively. I mean, I usually now, I mean, sometimes I will go to a normal shops and understanding and talking with them, okay, and find out what they are facing. They won't tell it exactly what I want, but there are certain keywords, certain things that will create me. So if I'm talking with them, sometimes if I talk with another person, that back in my head, actually I will be evaluating. I mean, okay, that solution can be applied here. This can be workable. So if I make that one, will that customer will able to pay back? Without that, I mean, without the value, they are not going to be paid. Will they able to pay?
True.
Will this is able to put it? Can be able to apply the innovation to that? Because innovation is nothing if you can't create a value. I mean, value means if you can't able to generate value out of it.
True. True.
So
So
always be
your
open and look for the problems and trying to solve it.
yes.
That's it.
You may
Don't
fail,
run away.
but you
Yes.
can still
Yes.
don't run away. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So my okay, we have Dinusha. Dinusha is asking a question. That's the question. Okay, here. Great discussion. Congrats, both of you. Is Monitor built with blockchain? I mean, I'm sure what he's trying to ask is whether blockchain also is involved somewhere in the process.
Yeah, so we are not that 100% using any blockchain technological, but this one, right? Okay, people actually use the funny, I mean, keywords, blockchain. They will use, I mean, digital currencies, but we are trying to solve the problem of the customers. So technology is second. We are actually solving the problem. So blockchain is not in our core system, but we know there's a value we can add it in future. But we will be adding that value later when it's actually really needed. If I can, because
Okay.
if I can able to solve it without a high technology piece, I can able to solve it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Technology
So
is second.
currently, what you are doing is maybe, yeah. So currently, what you said earlier was, you are using AI, and then you are
Yes,
using machine learning at this moment.
yes,
And then when the time is right, if blockchain has to be used, you will
yes.
use it. That's what you
Use it.
mean.
Yes,
Okay. I hope
exactly.
Dinush, you got good. Yeah, I mean, it's a good question because I couldn't ask you that question.
Yeah,
Sometimes
because
these are
if you know the
buzzwords, and then
technology, yeah, I mean, normally that's happening is, let's say, if you are a technical person, technological person, you will just immediately think of technology. I can use this one to solve it. That's not the right way. You have to think in the other way around. What is the easiest way to solve it? With the technology is really needed to solve it. Then choose the
okay.
easy one, go to the market, study it. Then okay, if you when the right times comes, you will use the technology.
Okay, brilliant, brilliant. So, Shantan, I have a last question. Like,
Yeah.
what do you want to tell the consumers who are looking for credit?
Okay. Try monitor, and we build the technology for you. So why don't you try it? And we will be actually providing a better experience and as well as better credit facility in I mean now and as well as in moving forward as well.
Okay,
So
so
just download
thank
the
you,
monitor application
Shantan.
and use it. That's it.
Yeah, so what you say is, other than going into a monitor.lk website, download the app. App goes as Monitor.
Yes, monitor. You can They can go to the Play Store. Currently working with Android because our most customer base is we are targeting in the Android base, not the iOS base at this moment. So you can actually download it from monitor.lk. You can directly go to the monitor.lk and get the link from there, or either you can go to the Play Store and type it monitor. It will come in the first link. So there's a upward red logo is there. So you can download it and use it and see. And you can connect
Yeah,
me
the
immediately anytime.
experience.
I will be in
Yeah,
LinkedIn and you can able to, yes.
yeah,
If any
and
problems or
then
anything, try to talk to me. Talk to me in the sense I will
yeah,
try to trust the, I mean, try to solve the problem as fast as possible. But there are certain things also because certain things we can't take it over, certain things we have to wait and to solve it, certain pieces need to come out. But we'll try to solve it as soon as possible. Reach out
yeah,
me
and
anything.
then maybe you can actually try download Monitor app and
Yes.
then be part of this future technology where
Yes.
your life could be much more easier than what you are experiencing right now, thanks to
Yeah.
fintech technology, thanks to people like Shayantan, who are trying to, I mean, he could easily go abroad. His wife is a doctor. They can just vanish from this country and then do all these things somewhere else. I think Singapore will say, hey, come, welcome back. But then he's staying here and trying to help a lot of people who needs those facilities. So my respect and gratitude to Shantan and the team for trying to do something, uh, I mean, working with central bank, the regulatory environment, government agencies, corporate banks. Not a easy thing, but he has made up his mind. No, we are going to do it because it has to be done, and somebody has to do it, and then he has decided to do it. So Damayanti says, great. Thank you, Damayanti, for coming into the show. A lot of people came. I'm so sorry about what happened in the middle of the show. I think it was my Wi-Fi just switched from one network to the other. So Shantan, thank you very much. Hope to work with you. Hope to. I
Sure.
think you deserve another shot on my show. Maybe after 3-4 months. I'm little guilty about this technical glitch. What happened in
No,
between?
it's
Okay,
being
Dinuko
natural.
also.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Dinuka from Africa is saying, "What a great show! All the very best, Dinuka. I think you should get connected with Chantan on LinkedIn, and you two start talking to each other because he's also in the finance industry, but and he's in Africa, and then I'm sure
Yeah.
there are a lot of things you could do together. So great! Thank you very much. I wish you and your team all the very best."
Thank you so much, Amit. Thank you so much for the opportunity to connect with that talented pools in Sri Lanka, and as well as the consumers, and as well as certain other networks. So it will definitely going to add value to us, and as well as people will know what exactly we are trying to do. So it is not an easy job to connect multiple pieces together to bring it, but we are trying our best to make sure. If any problems in our side or anything, please write to us. Please contact to us. You can write to me directly. I will be trying to contact as much as possible in my limited time. Please bear with me, and also, yeah. If you can connect, if you can help us to build that startup build our venture into a right level, that will be fantastic. End of the day, we're gonna create a value for the consumers in Sri Lanka. For the normal man. So that's the things I'm trying to solve it.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So join us for another great session like
Yep.
this next week. Okay. I think it's Jasmine. He says, good job. Join us next week for another session like this on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube with Cinema Chat with Amita. Everyone, stay safe and good night.
Good night and take care. Bye.